Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whichever time zone it might be for you. Welcome to my Wednesday live stream. My name is Elizabeth of Old School and Eclectic Crafts, and today we are going to be talking about follow-up for the St. Louis flood that I discussed last week, and I'm going to be working on knotted up in strings. Cherry blossom corner to corner test stitch that I'm doing for the owner of that Etsy shop. Sorry, I'm moving my camera around a little bit. So this is my test stitch. That's the ugly back side of it with all the strings that I still need to sew in. So we're going to get started on this. I really hope I've marked the right row. Okay. So I said that we were going to follow up on the St. Louis flood. So last week I discussed in quite a bit of detail how the flood affected me and my family. Where, for a brief recap, the St. Louis flood dumped something like 10 inches or more on the western half of St. Louis. In the course of just a couple of hours or a few hours. Where I am at, I live next to a creek that rose probably 8 or 9 feet. My husband and I went on a walk on Sunday where we actually walked on one of the walking paths that goes along the creek, and there was evidence that it had been submerged at the time of the flood. So that was fun and interesting. In this flooding, we ended up with about 2 inches of water in our basement. And I was here by myself because my husband was gone for work. And it was very, very stressful. And it didn't help that my landlord has been less than kind about it. So now for the follow-up of how things have gone since last Wednesday. Since last Wednesday, everything's gotten cleaned up in our house. Everything's dry. We've found that basically none of our personal property got damaged at all, which is amazing. I mean, time will tell if we end up finding something that we missed, but as far as we can tell, none of our personal property was damaged. We can't find any real damage to this property, which is we're renting, except for the seals around the basement door. So the reason that our house flooded during this flood was because we have an underground basement that is below water level and which has an egress, a doorway with the stairs up to ground level, which was put in without a permit and not up to code, and was all the old neighbors tell me about how the old guy who used to live here, the previous owner of the house, not previous renter, but the previous owner of the house, just took a spade, shovel, and a sledgehammer and dug a hole in the ground and took a sledgehammer to the wall of the foundations of this house and broke a hole in the wall so he could put in a door and a stairwell. So it is not put in very well. Additionally, because it was put in terribly, stuff's rotting away. The seals are all old. And so my husband and I actually have 3 different pictures showing different locations around the door where you can see from the inside, you can see light through to the outside. So you can see the outside. So it's basically just open to the outside all the time. And so because of that, water got in. Additionally, the sump pump drain goes directly into one of the drains from the gutters of the house. And water was coming down so fast, I was pretty sure that it backed up into the sump pump, which just flooded out and made the sump pump freak out and stop working. So that is neither here nor there at this point. But everything now is dried. I took several hours a couple days ago and moved. So everything had been pulled away from the walls because that was kind of the low areas was the walls, which is not how it's supposed to be, but that's how it is in this house. I kind of pulled everything away from the walls, and I've been shifting my plastic bins all around so that way underneath them could dry. And so I ended up finally pulling all the bins to one whole side of, so our basement, half of our basement and the main section that flooded is just one whole half. What's one big room in half of our basement. And so I was able to pull all of the stuff in that big great room to one half of it and get pictures of all the damage, potential damage, the high water marks that were still along the walls. And then after I got all my photos, I did some cleaning, got it all swept up, cleaned the walls, and then moved everything from that side to the other side and did the same thing with the other half. And that took several hours and a lot of work. I would not have been able to do that had I not been aggressively going to physical therapy. Just a couple of years ago, I was in so much pain that I could barely walk. I have hip issues and lower back issues, which apparently a lot of it stems from the fact that I have an extremely weak core. I'm just not very strong, never have been. But I basically couldn't walk. I still use a cane on occasion, but like when I leave the house, you can just about guarantee that somewhere amongst my purse or in my car or something, I have my cane, because it really sucks to suddenly not be able to walk and have no help to be able to get anywhere. But so I have been aggressively going to physical therapy, and I've gone to a chiropractor who's really, really helped. And because of that, I was able to have the strength and the mobility to be able to clean up the basement by myself because my husband was gone. And I am very, very grateful for the doctors and technicians who have really helped me. Because I was able to do that. For example, last time we moved, I basically sat in a chair while everybody else moved the boxes because I couldn't do it. I couldn't help. But now I moved around and cleaned an entire basement by myself, and I feel really good about it. We have, with those pictures, I also have about 25 minutes worth of video footage from both during the flood, after the flood, and of my cleanup, showing what happened and what I was doing to mitigate damages. And I gathered all that stuff up and sent it off to our landlord because he still hasn't come and seen the house. He stopped by the morning after the flood and shoveled out flood refuse that had ended up in the stairwell and then left. He never came in the house, never checked anything else, and he still hasn't. It's been over a week, and he still hasn't checked the house. But that's his problem, because we have now done our due diligence, and it's not our fault. But now we're just in the stage of basically resetting the basement and putting things back together now that things are clean, and we just got to reorganize. Along those lines of reorganizing, now my husband and I had discussed this before he left. So my husband was gone for about 2 weeks, about a week and a half to 2 weeks for work. And before he left, we had discussed rearranging the way our house was organized. Because we know we want to move. And since this flood, we've decided that we were going to move much sooner than we were planning on it. But we knew we wanted to move, which means that we knew that we were going to end up downsizing when we move, which meant that we were going to need to get rid of some of our superfluous furniture. Our current house is quite large for 2 people and a small dog. And so there's quite a bit of extra just empty space. And when you have empty space, you tend to fill it, even when you don't need to. It's just a natural thing that we humans do, is we fill the empty space. And as a result, we have ended up with some superfluous furniture. And so we're going to be getting rid of it. And that includes a chest of drawers, a floor cupboard, a couch, there was a couple other things, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But one of the big things we're getting rid of is the couch. And we're going to have just a couple of recliners. So we have my recliner, the one that I'm in right now. I bought this when we were engaged. And I bought it at a thrift store in La Vista, Nebraska for $25. And then it took a couple hours of vacuuming and cleaning with upholstery cleaner to get all the cat hair off and a couple stains. And it has been the best chair. Well, my husband, on Facebook Marketplace before he left, he found a recliner for like $35. They're similar to this. It's not identical, but it's very, very similar. And we spent 2 nights ago vacuuming and cleaning it. And we currently don't have any space for it, but we got to get rid of the couch so we can move both of these chairs into the living room to be our main sitting spots. Well, you may wonder what that means for my filming space. As you can see, there's books here. This is my room. This is the library. I have 2 bookshelves right here with all the vast majority of our books. And these are all my youth and children's books. I used to be a librarian for like 3.5 years. And so I like having books, and I like having them organized kind of the same way that the library did. So these are my youth books. But my husband and I decided that a better use of this space would be for all my crafting stuff and kind of turn this into my sewing room. So we are actually packing up all the books. We might leave out a few of our favorites or the ones that we're hoping to read in the next 6 months or so. Like my husband paid several $100s for a really, really fancy version of the whole Lord of the Rings series, like including the Silmarillion and the Hobbit, like all of them. I don't remember if there's 5 or 6 books. I can't see the books. They're way up there. But they're really, really fancy and really pretty. Those will probably stay out. But each day I've been packing up 2 boxes of books. And we have a lot of books. And I still have a lot to go. But so we're packing up the vast majority of our books so that we can empty out this room. And we're going to take the computer desk that we currently have in the living room. We're going to bring it in here. And it's going to become my sewing table. It's quite large. It's a corner desk, and it's quite large. So there's plenty of space for both of my sewing machines, plus space for a cutting mat, and then there'll be room for my shelves and all my stuff. I'll be honest, one of my hurdles with working on my sewing is the fact that it's in the basement. And so hopefully this will help me be able to be a little bit more productive by having all of my sewing stuff on one floor. And I'm pretty excited about it. I'm sad that I'm not going to have it set up like that for very long, just because I know that we're going to be moving sooner than we were expecting. But it'll give me good practice for having my sewing stuff organized, I hope. When my husband and I got married, I did have quite a bit of sewing stuff. I already had a sewing machine. I had quite a bit of yarn and fabric and materials for my plethora of crafts. But I have since at least doubled, if not tripled, maybe quadrupled the contents of my craft supplies stash, my craft supply stash. And it has expanded so quickly that I have had no idea how to organize it. I just haven't been able to figure it out because it's all coming in so quickly. And I'm trying really hard to stop increasing my collection until I can get it organized. But it's been really hard. So I'm hoping that by moving my stuff up here, I'll be able to get a little bit more organized. I'm almost done with this row. Have any of you gone over to Knotted Up in Strings Etsy page yet? Knotted Up in String is where this is the Etsy page where this pattern is from. And Haley, the owner and designer for Knotted Up in String, has a whole ton of designs. She just finished doing a test stitch for one of her patterns. I don't know what it's called, but it has 3 trees and a fawn, a baby deer. It's very cute. I really like it. I think it's really, really cute. So I think that y'all should go and take a look at it because it's super cute. I really hope that I have enough of this. So this color, this is a dark teal color. And I really hope I have enough to finish it off. I think I do. I think I have plenty to finish it off, but I am getting close enough to the end of the skein that I'm getting a little bit nervous. Just checking to see if I have any of my balls of yarn like pre-wound up of remnants of my teal color. I don't, so I'm all good. I'm now going to be pulling from both ends of this ball of yarn, and hopefully it's not going to make a mess. I'm hoping that this will be me being clever and not me making a mess of things. Oh, come on. So we've talked about the flood aftermath. We've talked about reorganizing the house and our potential for moving. We're hoping to stay in this general vicinity when we move. Besides the fact that we just really like it here. Landlord's terrible, obviously, but we really like the area. We like the town. We like the people. We really like the congregation at church that we have. Unfortunately, due to inflation and rent prices being absolutely absurd, it's nearly impossible for us to find a rental that is cheaper than where we live now without it being a studio apartment or a one-room apartment, which is awful given the fact that this is like a 3-bedroom house with 2 floors, and I think it's actually, yeah, it's 3-bedroom. 2.5 bath, like, this is a 3 full bath. Oh, wait, this is a quite large and extensive house, and it's really sad that in order to get somewhere cheaper, we would have to downsize all the way to a studio apartment. So that's annoying. Hi, Winston. Do you want to come here? Come here. Ooh. Pushing me backwards. There we go. Good boy. There, now we have Winston as part of our live stream. Hey, buddy. This is Winston, for those of you who haven't met him yet. He's a 3-year-old Yorkie Havanese mix. Puppy break. Good boy. You feel better? Hi. I actually made a list of things to discuss. As any of my subscribers might have noticed, I have had to put a lot of my stuff on hold, my Etsy stuff on hold, as a result of the flooding. Because all my crafting stuff's in the basement, including my sewing machines, all my basically everything, except for what I'm actively working on is in the basement. Luckily, stuff's in plastic totes, or I got downstairs fast enough to be able to move the stuff that was in danger. I had one box of fabric that got waterlogged because it was just a cardboard box that it was all in on the floor. By the time that I found out that it was flooding in the basement, the box was already waterlogged, so there wasn't really anything I could do. But I've since washed all that fabric. I haven't re-ironed it or refolded it, but I have washed it. But so all my craft stuff was in the basement, which means that a lot of my Etsy stuff that has to do with sewing, with my sewing machine, has had to be put on hold. Also, because I've been spending all my time cleaning up, I haven't had time to keep up with my Summerlike Series. And so, as I said, my subscribers will know that I skipped this last week because I did not have time to do it. Doing damage control was a little more urgent than an arbitrary Summerlike Series that I made up. So I don't know if I'm going to still do a solid 10 weeks or if I'm just going to not do one of the weeks and only have it be 9 and still cover the same amount of time. So still end on the same day instead of going an extra week to make up for it. I haven't decided yet. But I do now have the sample ready for the listing that should have been this week's Summerlike Series edition, but I'm going to do it next week. But I do have the sample done. Now just got to create the listing and get the photos. So luckily I've done enough of them now that it's kind of routine where I know everything I need to do, and it's sort of a copy-paste situation where everything's already basically set up. Or I've done it so many times that I know that I need X, Y, and Z, and then I use those things for that thing. And it's a lot easier when you've done it several times. Winston looks very comfortable. So hopefully I will be back into the Summerlike Series next Monday. In spite of the fact that I had to put Summerlike Series on hold, I did post 3 new listings on Monday. And I was able to do that because they are old listings that I just deactivated or I didn't renew when they expired. And so it was just a matter of reactivating them, paying the fee to be able to have them listed again. And they are 3 fall listings. They're all my little pumpkins. 2 of them are made out of my little knit pumpkins, and 1 is my miniature little amigurumi. I don't know how to pronounce that. Pumpkins. I figured 3 listings because it was 3 months till Halloween. Everyone who was put on a wait list for them, because I had mentioned reactivating them a while ago, several weeks ago, and I had a couple of people ask me to put on the wait list, and they have been contacted, and now the listings are open to anyone who would like to purchase from my new listings. If you want these in time for Halloween or Thanksgiving, you're going to want to order them fairly early. Because, I mean, it does take me some time to be able to knit and crochet little pumpkins. They are some of my faster projects, but it still takes some time. So the earlier you order, the sooner I can get them to you. All my yarn was in plastic totes when my basement flooded, and so all my yarn is perfectly fine and accessible and clean. So any projects that I have to do with my yarn are easily doable at this point, like my crocheting. Does anybody have any questions for me? I've talked about the St. Louis flood and how it affected me in the aftermath from the last week of cleaning up. I've talked about changing around my crafting area, packing up all my books, and turning my library into my craft room. Talked about my new listings and my Summerlike Series. So I've kind of run out of things to talk about. So if you have anything you would like me to discuss, feel free to ask in the chat right now. What TV shows are you guys watching right now? On my own, I'm currently watching House. And with my husband, we're watching a lot. My husband and I cycle through a lot of different series. I know that we're in the middle of Big Bang Theory. We're in the middle of I can picture it. Malcolm in the Middle. We're in the middle of Malcolm in the Middle. Though I think the streaming service that we were watching it on discontinued it. So we're not even going to be able to finish it. We just started Andromeda. We've been watching Resident Alien, which is hilarious. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. I think I'm going to do a little bit of a how-to on this corner to corner. So I'll be honest, starting out a corner to corner is very intimidating. But once you get going and you know the rhythm of it, it's pretty easy. The pattern is based on squares that stair step. So you see how it's kind of scalloped? It's kind of stair stepped. You're working corner to corner, so you're working diagonally. That's why it's stair stepped, and it's worked in a grid. So when you want to start a new stitch, you go to the corner of one of these stair steps. Let's see if I can get this in the camera. And you find that top one, and you just go into the hole. You're not going into any stitches. You're going between stitches, and you're doing a slip stitch. Okay? And then you can chain either 2 or 3. It depends on how you kind of want it to look. I chain 2 because I prefer it being a little bit tighter. And then you do 3 double crochets. I think they're called treble crochets for the Europeans who may be watching this. It's the one where you yarn over once before you insert the hook the first time. And once you have double crocheted 3 times, that is the end of your square. And then you go to the next corner, the next one right here that you're right next to. You find that first one right there and you go between it and you do it all over again. And that is the entirety of corner to corner. It's just doing that over and over and over again. Now, there is some different things for when you are increasing or decreasing at the ends of the rows. But it's just chains or slip stitches to facilitate getting you to where you need to start your next little square. I don't know if you know this about YouTube, but there are thresholds you have to reach in order to be able to do certain things on YouTube. So being here on YouTube, I can live stream and I can post videos as much as I want right from the get-go. Well, you have to set up your account and you have to set up your ability to live stream, and then you have to wait 24 hours. You can't live stream immediately. You have to set it up and then wait, because they have to verify the account and make sure it's not like a spam account or whatever. And that's how I'm able to live stream right now, is just with my account on YouTube. Anyone can do that. However, the caveat to that is that you can only live stream using a webcam unless you get to until you get to 50 subscribers. If you have 50 subscribers, then you can start doing mobile live streaming, which is where you can use your phone to be able to live stream. And I really, really want to get to 50 subscribers. Right now, I have 5. I need 10 times that amount to be able to start using my phone. When I can use my phone for mobile live streaming, I'll be able to do live streams more like what I was doing on Instagram Live and Facebook Live, where you can actually see what I'm working on, like from my point of view, instead of just like watching me talk. I can do better tutorials, and I can do tutorials for like the live streams, and I can do things like my tatting, and I can show you how I do it, and get a little more close into what I'm actually working on rather than sitting far away. And I really, really want to get to that point, but I need 50 subscribers to be able to do that. So if you're not subscribed and you like just sitting and chatting with me, I keep intending to post additional videos of me working on projects, but my life has recently been thrown into absolute chaos, so that hasn't happened. So hopefully eventually I'll get other videos up. But if you really like my content, you like just sitting here listening with me, I'd love it if you subscribed. The more subscribers I get, the better, because again, I need 50 subscribers before I can start using mobile live streaming. And that's what I really want. Additionally, you may think that anyone who's on YouTube can make money on YouTube, and that's not true. You have to, again, reach certain benchmarks before you can become monetized. You may notice that on my videos, there's never any ads, and that's because I am not monetized. I don't make any money from YouTube. It would be really nice if I did, because that would be an extra source of income, where my husband has 2 jobs and he does a great job supporting our family, and we are in a comfortable position, especially for people of our age, in the time period that we're in right now. We are comfortable. But it would be really nice to be able to support my Etsy business with the aid of some additional income. I'm really scared I may have screwed up, so I'm going to do some counting here real quick. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 30. Okay. Nope, I'm good. I didn't screw it. But so you have to reach certain benchmarks to be able to become monetized and therefore to be able to make any money at all on YouTube. And you have to have 4,000 viewing hours. That's the amount of time that people have watched your videos needs to total over 4,000 hours. Which I'm currently at like 6.5 viewing hours total. And you also need at least 1,000 subscribers, which seems completely unattainable at this point, given the fact that I have 5 right now. But I mean, that's like the far away goal. Like someday, maybe, hopefully, I could become monetized. But that takes work that I have not yet been able to put into YouTube just yet. So a lot of times you'll notice that, I don't know if you'll even notice, but when some small creator suddenly goes viral, that may be what it takes for them to suddenly get monetized. Which, honestly, going viral isn't necessarily the greatest thing because it screws with your analytics, and then YouTube spends the next year telling you, oh, none of your videos are performing as well as the one that went viral. The person in particular that I'm thinking of is Abby Cox. She did a whole video about what it's like going viral and the aftermath for it. And as I've been creating my YouTube channel, I've been thinking a lot about her videos and the advice that she's given. Whether you are on live right now or watching this in the replay, feel free to post any questions you may have for me. I'm going to be making a mess of this yard. I would love to answer any questions about either my Etsy shop or what I'm currently working on right here with Knotted Up in Strings, Cherry Blossom Test Stitch. I would love to answer your questions. I basically ran out of things to talk about like 15 minutes ago. So I've been trying to come up with additional things to discuss. I don't know if I said this. My husband is home now. My husband is back in town now. He was only gone for a few, as I said, about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So he is now home and has helped me with some cleanup, but it's been mostly my project. All right. Question in the chat. Could one theoretically tat a whole dress? Yes. Theoretically, yes. I do not believe I myself have the skill to be able to do so. If I were following a pattern that was well illustrated and written out, I probably could. Like any lace dress, you'd of course want an underlayer to it. But yes, theoretically you could. It would probably take several thousand hours of work. But yeah, you probably could. There's someone on social media that I've been watching. I have no idea what their name is. I think their handle on Instagram is getting married in a lace dress or something like that. But their whole thing right now has been the story of them crocheting their wedding dress. Doing lace crochet for their wedding dress. And it's been gorgeous watching it come together. And I think she actually got married a couple weeks ago. So the wedding has happened now. But tatting takes quite a bit longer than knitting or crocheting. Or at least in my experience, that has been the case. Haley knows what I'm talking about. I'm glad you know who I'm talking about, Haley. By the way, Haley is the one who designed this blanket. So it's been really cool watching her dress come together. So if you're familiar with that girl on Instagram, it is possible. Of course, hers was crochet. Tatting, it is possible. It would just be very, very time consuming, as in thousands of hours. You may have noticed that my tatted lace is expensive. It is definitely it definitely goes under the qualification of a luxury item. And that is purely because it takes so long to make. Haley says that she also really likes Abby Cox and that she and I are basically the same person when it comes to Instagram and YouTube videos. I have a sister-in-law who basically follows and watches the exact same stuff that I do also. So I have been surrounding myself with people who love the same stuff that I do. I squirreled and now I can't remember where I was at. Hi, Winston. I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but I'm fairly certain that I am ADHD because I get all sorts of squirreled. And that's only one of the things that makes me think that. What is Winston's favorite dinosaur and what is my favorite dinosaur? I don't think Winston is even aware that dinosaurs have ever existed. He's never had a toy dinosaur. I'm pretty sure his favorite dinosaur would be anything that is smaller than him. Mine, I've always leaned toward brontosauruses and that kind of genus. The long necks. I just thought they were really cool. It might be tied to the fact that I really like giraffes. So I just like long necks. I don't know. What's your favorite dinosaur? Tell me in the chat, what's your favorite dinosaur? And if there's an emoji for it, post the emoji. I'd love to see it. Haley says she asked that question because she has toddlers who like dinosaurs. I have some nieces and nephews who also really like dinosaurs. For a while, I was doing audio recordings of myself, reading the Magic Treehouse series out loud to my nieces and nephews. And the T-Rexes are the heroes of Jurassic Park. Okay. I've only ever seen one of the Jurassic Park movies. And that was enough for me to say never again. I just don't like. Nope, I didn't like it. So I was recording myself reading the Magic Treehouse series to my nieces and nephews, and sharing them privately with my family because you can't post that kind of stuff publicly because copyright infringement stuff. My mind just stopped again. And the first book of the Magic Treehouse series is Dawn of the Dinosaurs, or Dawn with the Dinosaurs, something like that. Oh, Dinosaurs Before Dark. Sorry. Got that wrong. This stack right here is all my Magic Treehouse books. There's 30 of them. And apparently, even though I've stopped doing it, I got COVID, which meant that I couldn't really breathe and I couldn't read out loud. And since then, I just haven't gotten back into it because I've been really busy with other stuff. But I really want to get back into reading them and getting those recordings done for my nieces and nephews. But apparently, even though I haven't been sending new recordings to my nieces and nephews, a couple of them have been religiously re-listening to that first one over and over again because they like dinosaurs. Whoops, that was an extra one. Let's see if we can talk about the future for my shop. So this channel is called Old School and Eclectic Crafts. And I did that because my Etsy shop is called Old School and Eclectic. But that doesn't really tell you anything about my shop, except for the fact that I do a lot of old-fashioned crafts, and it's an eclectic collection of miscellaneous stuff that I like to do. And so here on YouTube, since there's literally no category to tell you that, oh, by the way, I'm talking about crafts. I added crafts at the end. But so for my Etsy shop in the coming months, I'm going to be continuing my Summerlike Series. And then I'm planning on doing a series where I'm expanding my cords, where I have my braided finger loop braids, braided cord. I'm going to be expanding that. That's not going to be nearly as extensive or exciting as the lace series, but I feel like my cords are fairly popular, and best I can tell is I'm the only one on anywhere that sells finger loop braids that are longer than like 18 inches. The longest one I've done so far is 5 yards in one stretch, which took some real finagling, but I could definitely do it again. Sorry, the city is mowing out my back window here. It's really loud for me. So I'm going to be next. I'm going to be doing the cords after I do the Summerlike Series, and then we'll get into the holidays. At which point, I'm hoping to be doing some ornaments that are embroidered, cross-stitched. I've been wanting, so these ornaments that I'm going to be doing, I've been wanting to do for years. They were one of my first original ideas of, oh, I would love to make these and sell them in my Etsy shop. So if you look closely at the information about my Etsy shop, you'll notice that it says that I opened it in like 2016. And that may be true. That's when I originally opened my shop. But it was a false start. And I put up a couple listings, but I never sold anything, and I never really did anything with it. But then January 1st, 2021 is when I went full bore and have been going ever since. So since I first made the ornaments, the first time I made my ornaments was in 2009. And ever since then, I have really wanted to be able to make and sell them. And so I'm really, really hoping to be able to do that this year, if all goes well. If not, it's going to have to wait another year. I was planning on doing it last year, but I started to get burned out and things started happening, and I got crazy busy, and yeah, it obviously didn't happen. So I'm really hoping to do it this year. I've now been going for an hour. I was thinking I'd finish this row, but I'm only about halfway done with the row. I really appreciate those of you who have joined me. Thank you, Haley, for being here as I worked on your test stitch and for your questions. If anyone else has any questions after the fact, since you'll be watching the replay, I'd love to hear them. I will answer them either in an upcoming live stream or just in the chat. I hope that you guys are all doing well. And it would mean the absolute world to me if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, so that way I can progress to the next stage of my YouTube channel of being able to do it with mobile live streaming. So that would elevate the quality and my abilities with my live streaming and crafting while live streaming. You can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram. And if you would like an additional way to be able to support me if you'd like a way to be able to support me in a way that's not one of my Etsy items, if none of my stuff fits your fancy, I do have an Amazon wish list for my Etsy shop where I've posted things that I am hoping to purchase to be able to help me expand what I'm creating. Tools to be able to help me grow. So that link, all those links are in my Etsy shop, my Amazon wish list, my Facebook page, and my Instagram account page have all been linked in the bio or the description down below, as have the links for Knotted Up in Strings Etsy page and the listing specifically for this pattern. They have all been, links are all down in the description. Yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I will see you next week. Bye.